The US State Department notes that the Sri Lankan government's response explaining why the impeachment motion took place is not satisfactory. US State Department spokesperson Victoria Nuland made this statement during yesterday's Delhi press briefing.
U.S. government assistance for FY 2012 for Sri Lanka was $27 million. This included $13.3 million in bilateral assistance programs, which primarily were related to peace and security, human rights, economic growth, and democracy programs. We have a 2013 request for $16.5 million in bilateral assistance for Sri Lanka. Frankly, Lalit, I will say that it is too soon to say what impact the actions will have on our foreign assistance for Sri Lanka going forward.
And have you received any response from the Sri Lankan government explaining why they did such a measure?
We're obviously in contact with them. I would not say that the explanations are satisfactory in terms of protecting democracy.
And just so you're clear, when you say the actions, you mean specifically the impeachment of the Chief Justice?
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct.
Minister Kehelia Rambukwala says that a decision needs to be taken regarding an amendment to the Constitution. The minister made this statement in response to a question raised by a journalist at the Cabinet media briefing today.
There
are certain flaws in this constitution which should be rectified. I only mentioned about whether there was a need or not, since it has become a topic of discussion. There is an opinion forming in the country that a constitutional amendment is necessary. As a government, a decision regarding it has to be taken.
Journalists also raised questions on the legal action that will be taken on Dr. Shirani Bandaranaike, who was impeached from office.
No, that is not relevant. Those charges leveled only in connection with the impeachment motion. The procedures relating to it have now concluded. No, because these are facts that were revealed in the Parliamentary Select Committee. A report was also presented with these facts. That report is only relevant for the debate. Don't misunderstand the report to be the decision.
The minister also commented on the statement made by the spokesperson of the US State Department.
Anyone can express their views, but one should study the facts and then express their views. Minister G.L. Peewis is a law professor. He has given this explanation according to our constitution. We work according to our constitution. There is no need to say anything more.
Speaking during a function held in Mathura today, U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka commented on the views expressed by the U.S. State Department spokesperson Victoria Nuland on the 15th of this month regarding foreign investments in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka recently moved up the World Bank's ease of doing business ranking from 98th place to 89th place, so that's an upward trend. But there has been some ground lost in certain categories, including the ease of starting a business, dealing with construction permits, registering properties. So these are the kind of issues that we want to focus on as we look to encourage our U.S. business people to take a look at Sri Lanka, look at the possibilities for joint ventures. As businessmen, members in the private sector, of course, the rule of law is essential for any businessman seeking to make an investment. And our spokeswoman was simply making the point that any action that would undermine an independent judiciary could also undermine a country's ability to attract foreign investment. It's a very simple statement that reflects the way the private sector, and this includes the U.S. private sector, makes investment decisions. Rule of law is one of those ingredients that is essential.
The U.S. ambassador attended a meeting held with the members of the Mathura Chamber of Commerce today. And it's time now for the newspaper cartoon of the day.
A fuel surcharge imposed on the electricity bill in February last year until further notice. Reason: to minimize the losses suffered by relying mainly on crude oil for power generation. Hydropower generation exceeds 70% with reservoirs reaching spill level due to heavy rains. The Ceylon Electricity Board says that it is impossible to reduce or remove the fuel surcharge on the electricity bill. Reason: hydropower generation is not sufficient for the current overall electricity generation. What is the genuine objective of imposing a fuel surcharge during both rain and drought?
Let's now take a look at Action TV.
The Board of Directors of the National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Authority or NARA last met on the 31st of December. A letter written to the subject minister by the chairman of NARA following the conclusion of this meeting goes to show that the Board of Directors had discussed and reached decisions on two of the issues repeatedly highlighted by Action TV since the 8th of December. The two issues that were discussed include the decisions to allocate 30 million rupees to construct a boat without the approval of the Board of Directors, as well as the Treasury, and the matter concerning the handling of funds related to the consultancy services rendered during the Colombo Port expansion project. However, the boat, which has been anchored in the Hamilton Canal for over an year, is in a dilapidated state. NARA had appointed a retired government official to look into the payments made to construct the boat. On the 21st of December last year, Action TV revealed that the final report compiled following the investigation was swept under the carpet. The letter written by the chairman of NARA to the subject minister notes that attention was focused after a lapse of nearly 3 months on the investigation report during the December 31st meeting. The chairman of NARA informed the minister through a letter that the report had prompted the Board of Directors to launch an initial investigation against the head of the finance of NARA in connection to the construction of the vessel. The letter also notes that the Board of Directors had decided on the composition of the committee that will look into these irregularities. The composition of this investigative committee is truly a surprising one. According to the decision of the Board of Directors, one member of the investigative committee should be appointed by the subject minister. However, the subject minister is not a protocol officer. The members of an investigative committee should be named or appointed by the secretary to the ministry or a similar official who can be considered as a protocol officer. This letter proves that the Board of Directors have taken steps to undermine the authority of the Secretary to the Ministry, who is considered a protocol officer, as well as the Chief Remuneration Officer. Incidentally, the Secretary to the subject ministry in his official capacity is also a member of the NARA Board of Directors.
A fire erupted this evening at a building that is under construction in close proximity to a renowned hotel in Colombo Fort. The police said that a stock of paint which was stored in the building had caught fire. No injuries were reported from the incident. The fire was doused by the fire brigade.
A deputy minister's private secretary who was evading court and the police in connection to a number of allegations has been arrested in Thamuttegama.
The police said that serious allegations including assaults, making threats with the use of weapons and robbery have been levelled against the suspect since 2009. The police noted that the suspect was arrested last night following an extensive investigation. The suspect is a resident of the Thamuttegama area. The police said that the suspected private secretary of a deputy minister is scheduled to be produced before court today.
Speaking at a media briefing held today ahead of the third one-day international against Sri Lanka, Australian skipper Michael Clarke has said that the talent of a cricketer is more important than his reputation. Meanwhile, Sri Lankan skipper Mahala Jayawardene said that Dinesh Chandimal may play in tomorrow's match depending on his physical fitness.
Australian pacemen Mitchell Starc and Mitchell Johnson are on doubt for tomorrow's match due to injury. Skipper Michael Clark, emphasizing on the matter, said that players whose fitness is not up to performance level will not make it to the team.
There's obviously the pinnacle of international cricket is Test cricket, and I think we have done over the past 12 months tried to prioritise Test cricket above one-day cricket and 2020 cricket. You know, my goal with this team is to try and win every single game of cricket we play. But I do believe you can only take your best 11 players. So if somebody is not 100% fit to play their role, then they don't make that best 11. No matter what their name is, no matter what their reputation is, our team is a lot different now to what it used to be.
The third one-day international between Sri Lanka and Australia will be played at the Brisbane International Cricket Stadium. Sri Lanka have played 13 one-day internationals at the Brisbane International Cricket Stadium and has only been able to win 2 encounters. Sri Lankan skipper Mahela Jayawardene, explaining the team for tomorrow's match, said that he is not certain whether or not to use an additional bowler.
No, we haven't, because we want to give Dinesh Chandimal another 24 hours to see how he pulls up. He did bat yesterday, he had few run-throughs and stuff, so pulled out pretty well. But we want to give him as much as time if he's fit, and everyone else seems to be in good condition. So we'll assess our final 11 once we get a report on him as well. Given the surface as well, if you need to change the combination with our bowling attack and all that, so we'll make that final call once we realize where Chandimal is.
The International Olympic Committee has confirmed that Lance Armstrong has been stripped of the Olympic bronze medal he won in Sydney in 2000. The IOC acted after the International Cycling Union took away the American's 7 Tour de France titles after he was found guilty of doping. Armstrong met with Chateau's Oprah Winfrey in his home city of Austin on Monday to record a television show which is to be telecast in 2 parts at 9 a.m. Sri Lankan time tomorrow and on Saturday. You can log on to www.newsfirst.lk to stream the interview live.
The Ministry of Sports, as per the new sports regulations, has extended the election cycle of sports associations from 1 year to 2 years. At a meeting held today with officials of sports associations, the subject minister said the relevant orders were sent to be gazetted. According to the new regulations, journalists, owners of media organizations and those involved either directly or indirectly with betting centers cannot contest for positions in sports associations.
The Minister of Sports has the right to impose regulations on sports associations according to the provisions set out under Section 41 of the Sports Law number 25 of 1973. Speaking at the meeting, the Minister said that 56 regulations have been imposed on sports associations. Legal advisor to the Minister of Sports, Attorney at Law Panduka Kirthinanda, noted that sports regulations from 1973 to present will be annulled. He said that according to the new regulations, professional journalists or an owner of any print or electronic media institute will be prohibited from holding office in a sports association. According to the new regulations, parents or siblings of sportsmen in the national squads will not be able to hold office at any sports association. Panduka Kirthinanda added that individuals connected directly or indirectly with any institution which produces, distributes or sells sports gear will not be permitted to hold office in any sports association.
That most certainly looks very interesting. Well, with that, we wrap up today's news bulletin. I'm Krishna Pandagaratna.
And I'm Ramesh Rugal Bandara. Good night.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.